Oh
and
my
we can
God,
talk
get the
about
hell out of here.
We can
dude.
talk about Rodgers.
Get the hell out of here.
Okay, what is the need to bring up the Yankees?
It's just stuff to bring up because
Are you kidding me? Come on, dude. This came out of nowhere.
not. Clemson is a top team. Don't start with that. Clemson's a top team, no doubt, 100%.
Unless they're on Saturday, then they might move down.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We are back with the 49th episode. Before we get into this, I'd just like to thank you guys for the viewership for the past 2 episodes. It's been absolutely incredible. At the time of this, I think 241 was our last, or was it lower?
I looked. I just saw 244.
Well, there you go. It's absolutely incredible, our Halloween special. Well, other than that, if you guys are new here, hit that subscribe button. If you're not, welcome back. We got the GOAT of the number 49. I'm going to start with you, Tommy, because I know there's a Yankees player on this list. And are you going to go with him?
Of course I am. I'm going to go with Ron Guidry this week. He's the best. His number was retired by the Yankees. Lefty pitcher back in the 70s. He won a Cy Young with the Yankees, 4-time All-Star. He won 2 World Series as well. A 5-time Gold Glover. He fielded his position incredibly well. He had 2 ERA titles as well, a 3.29 career ERA, 47.8 career WAR. He was just a really solid pitcher for the Yankees in their 70s run. So I have to go with Ron Guidry for this week.
That is a great pick, Connor. Are you going to agree with him?
I am going to agree with Ron Guidry. I mean, he has all the accolades. He's a really good pitcher for the Yankees. I mean, I'm a big Yankee fan, so it's hard not to go Ron Guidry here at number 49.
Mike, what about you?
Yeah, I have to agree. There's not much other competition for Ron Guidry behind Hoyt Willem, who was a pitcher for the White Sox and a bunch of other teams. But Ron Guidry is definitely the choice here. He was a really solid pitcher. I think he's a little less boring than Andy Pettit, but I think he's a little better.
Yeah. Before you guys argue, I'm going to go with Ron Guidry too. Like Mike said, there wasn't a lot of competition here, and he was a great pitcher for the Yankees. Therefore, Tommy, go ahead.
I just don't understand why you act like Pettit and Guidry aren't good pitchers. They're both incredibly good. You act like you say they're boring. They're incredible.
I mean, they're not. I wouldn't necessarily call them incredible, but I think they're really good pitchers. I wouldn't, say that they're like these amazing once in a generational type talent pitchers. I'm pretty sure they both have an ERA, a career ERA above 3. So they were really good pitchers, but it's not like I think that they're like this generational type talent. That's all I'm saying.
All right, that's fair.
Well, another person that I want to mention is he was one of the best fullbacks in recent years in the NFL. He played for the Chiefs, Vikings, and the Jets. Is Tony Richardson. I mean, to be a fullback and make it to the Pro Bowl 3 times is pretty impressive. So for him to do that, as well as being a Jets fan and seeing him on the Jets, that was good to see.
All right. Well, any other thoughts? All right. This wraps up a short Go the Numbers segment for number 49. So let's get right into our next segment.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We are now going to be talking about the 2020 NFL first-round rookie quarterback class. All of them now, except for Jordan Love in Green Bay, has played a game in the NFL. And we want to decide of the big first 3, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, and Tua Tagovailoa, who has the highest potential in the NFL. We will include Jordan Love in that, but since he has not played a game, I feel like he's a tad below the other 3. But Mike, I'm going to throw it to you first. What quarterback has the highest potential throughout the next 10 years of their career in the NFL?
I think the quarterback that has the highest potential out of all of these is Joe Burrow. And this is purely he's played really well this season, right? And obviously the argument is to be made that Herbert has been better, and that's probably the strongest argument. He has the strongest case for Offensive Rookie of the Year. But I just think Joe Burrow has the highest ceiling because of the production we saw from him in his senior year in Clemson. Over 6,000 yards, most passing touchdowns, and NCAA football history. It was arguably the best football player history in all of the NCAA, right? So that's why I'm picking Joe Burrow. I'm basing it off his peak performance in college. It's something that we've never seen before, that we've ever seen done before, right? So that's why I'm picking Joe Burrow here.
I mean, Mike, I'm just a little confused. We're not talking about college numbers.
We're talking about highest ceiling, right?
Right.
Yeah. And right now, obviously Herbert is playing a little bit better than Burrow, but we're talking about ceiling. We're projecting them moving forward. And Herbert hasn't come close to Joe Burrow's production that he had in his last season at LSU, in college, or in the NFL right now. Herbert is playing very well right now, but I don't know how much better he's going to get from this point on.
Mike or Matt, I'm going to swing the question to you.
This is a very interesting question, how you interpret it, which way you want to. I think there's two ways to interpret this. You can interpret this as Super Bowl winning, which one has a high ceiling with Super Bowls, and which one has a higher ceiling individually, like MVP and that kind of stuff. I would say individually, it's got to be Joe Burrow, just because his potential is so much greater. But I'm worried about the Bengals and what they could produce around him defensively. So if I was going Super Bowls, I would go with Justin Herbert. But first off, Joe Burrow went to LSU, not Clemson, Mike. You did mention he went to Clemson. But
Did I not say, LSU?
no, you said Clemson. But
Did I say?
you did, Mike. I remember. But I think Justin Herbert is, honestly, he's been playing great football. I mean, he had what, like how many games did he have in a row with 300 plus passing yards? He has so much potential. And I think if I had to pick a Super Bowl winner in the next 10 years, if it had to be one of those two, Tua's not even in the picture. I'd say Jordan Love has a higher ceiling than Tua. But if I had to pick one of those quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl, I would say Justin Herbert, just based on the fact that of his team. I think his team has more potential than the Bengals, in my opinion.
Tommy, what are you thinking?
Yeah, well, I agree. I think that you're right, Matt, saying that Justin Herbert with his team, they have the most potential overall, but I am going to go with Joe Burrow. I think that he has a tremendous amount of potential. And I know we're not talking about college stats, but you said it, Mike. He was able to prove on the big stage what he could do. And we all know that it is different. The college game doesn't always translate over to the NFL, but I certainly think that he can do it. I think that he'll start to get going more. He's played fairly well, right? I mean, I guess that people, they have high expectations, the first overall pick, but I think that he's going to be okay. And I just think that overall he has the most potential to succeed on a personal level. But I think you make a good point as well, Matt, about Justin Herbert having, the overall good team around him to help him succeed. But yeah, so Joe Burrow's the one I'm going to go with.
Before I get into my top, I'm going to disagree with Matt in saying that Jordan Love has a higher ceiling than Tua. I think the Miami Dolphins have a really, really good team. Brian Flores is starting to put together a really good team down there in Miami. He's becoming a good coach. I mean, he's one of Bill Belichick's elves, you could call them, who have gone on to their own team. And he's put together a really good team. And Tua's first start, I think he was 12 for 21 with 98 yards and a touchdown. Some good, some bad. He didn't play that great, but he led the team to a win over a 5-win team in LA. So now what's the comment, Matt?
He didn't lead his team to a win, to be honest. That defense led the team to a win.
The defense did play very well, but as the quarterback, it seemed as if they are still the one manning the team towards the win. So the defense they played extremely well against the Rams, but Tua Tagovailoa played a really good game on offense. I mean, he had the touchdown to Devontae Parker. The snap to throw was like a second. It was a really good throw. Devontae Parker had the defensive back all over him. He put it right where Devontae Parker could catch it. I think there was a lot of good stuff we saw from Tua. As far as this question overall, I think Justin Herbert definitely has the higher potential than Joe Burrow. Both quarterbacks have played really well. They have. I ultimately think it's going to come down to the pressure. And Joe Burrow being the number one pick, coming off of a national championship run and a Heisman Trophy, that's going to put more pressure on him, and it's more pressure for him to succeed and turn the Bengals around quickly with Zach Taylor and Joe Mixon. And they drafted, no, they didn't draft a wide receiver, but they have AJ Green. They did draft a wide receiver. Was it T. Higgins?
Yeah.
T. Higgins. Yeah. So I mean, they drafted a wide receiver. They're putting the team around Joe Burrow, where Justin Herbert kind of just slid right into the Chargers with the departing Phillip Rivers and took over. I mean, they lost Melvin Gordon, but he still has Keenan Allen, and they've developed a really good connection early on, where I don't think we've seen Joe Burrow have that really distinct connection with one of his receivers. I think Justin Herbert is growing connections as he moves along, as he stepped into this team. So I think the connections and the lack of pressure is what's going to put Justin Herbert above Joe Burrow.
I mean, I guess I could kind of see where you're going with connections, but Tyler Boyd is a top 10 receiver in receiving yards right now. I think that's his best connection in Cincinnati. And I honestly think Burrow to Boyd is a better connection. Well, maybe Herbert to Allen, but I forgot Keenan Allen was there for a second. But I think I get what you're saying about connections, but I do think Joe Burrow actually has connections in Cincinnati. And I don't think AJ Green's a part of that future at all either. So that could obviously play some sort of role in the future potentially. But I would say,
I definitely think a possibility and a way for me to change my mind on this is if the Bengals continue to struggle. I mean, they got the win over Tennessee last week, but if they do get a top 10 pick in the NFL draft, if they get Jamar Chase out of LSU, who Joe Burrow played with, then I could say there's that real connection there with him, and he has that connection with Tyler Boyd. I think that could be a legitimate offense there with Joe Burrow, but I just think right now, the way that Keenan Allen and Justin Herbert have been connecting. And then once you get Austin Eckler back in that backfield, I mean, we forget that he still is on the Chargers because he's been on the IR. Right now, they're running a committee of backfields or a committee of running backs who really aren't that all reliable. So once you get Austin Eckler back in there, he's a good runner. He's a good pass catcher out of the backfield. I think that's going to add another element to Justin Herbert's game.
Connor, I think you completely missed the point on Joe Burrow having no connections. Matt kind of alluded to it right there. Tyler Boyd, he has more yards and the same amount of touchdowns as Keenan Allen. T. Higgins is on pace for a 900 to 1,000 yard season. So if everything goes to plan, the Cincinnati Bengals are going to have 2,000 yard receivers. So if that's not telling you that he has a connection between his two receivers, between those two very young receivers, T. Higgins is a rookie, and I think Tyler Boyd's a third-year player. I think those are two really great connections. And if the Bengals do end up getting a top 10 pick, which they probably will, I think they should probably spend on the defense. You know, the defense is more of the struggling part of their team. They've invested in the wide receiver position, while Jamar Chase would be a great pick to pair with Burrow. I don't really think they're in the position and have the luxury to add another wide receiver while they have other needs to fill.
I would like to say, I'd like to point out, the only reason why Tyler Boyd, to be honest, is over Keenan Allen is because Keenan Allen has bye week. I think it's like 40 yards between the two, and average-wise, I think Boyd still has it. But after this week, while Bengals are sitting on their bye, I think Keenan Allen will surpass Boyd, and we probably get in the top 10 at that point.
But I mean, I think I'm looking at Justin Herbert's stats right now. He's averaging 8 yards a pass. He's averaging 327 yards a game. 15 touchdowns, 5 picks. He has a 104.5 QB rating. These are great numbers from a rookie quarterback. And he's developing these connections, as I've alluded to, with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and the tight end and Hunter Henry. I don't see any way where there's going to be a decline in Justin Herbert's game anytime soon. I think he's just going to keep going up. Now, I don't have stats on Joe Burrow right now. I will grab them really quickly. But I mean, Joe Burrow's averaging 300 yards a game, and he has 11 touchdowns and 5 picks. So the touchdowns are down. QB rating's 91.4, so it's a little bit lower. I just think the production of Justin Herbert has been a little bit higher than Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
I'm looking right now. I just want to. I see Joe Burrow at 284. I don't know the ESPN, but that obviously would help your case, Connor. Anyways.
I think the production is really close right now, and to the point where it's kind of like indecisive between Herbert and Burrow to pick who has a higher ceiling. It's not like Herbert's playing tiers and tiers above Burrow, right? So I think what we have to do here is look back at the past and look who's hit the highest ceiling in the past during their college career. And I understand it's college and not the NFL, but what Burrow did in college does not compare to anything Herbert has done. And I think Herbert's going to be really good, but I don't think he's going to come close to what Burrow did in his last year at LSU.
But you can't compare his college stats to what's in the NFL. It's a completely different game. The game's faster. He's on a not as good of a team. LSU national championship team last year was one of the best college teams we've ever seen, arguably the best. So it's hard to compare those numbers to what he's going to do in the NFL. We can't say that Justin Herbert's never going to put up those numbers because he probably won't. No quarterback in the NFL that's younger than Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers or anyone like that will put up those numbers.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
No, you could go ahead if you want.
No, all I was gonna say is that he's not gonna, he might get close, but my point is that he's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna get close to those numbers, right? Obviously,
those numbers don't matter, though, is what I'm trying to say, because that's in a college game that's completely different than the NFL.
We are projecting how good these quarterbacks are moving forward, right?
Correct. But we can't compare the numbers that we're projecting them to have to college numbers.
Yeah, with that argument, I agree with Connor, just because you even look at the defensive line, defensive ends, linebackers that are going for a sack. Those guys are much slower in college than in the NFL. I'm pretty sure it was during the Eagles Cowboys game where Ben DiNucci tried to get out of a sack, and I think Vinny Curry sacked him. Even the commentators made a point that it's a much slower game, and maybe in college Ben DiNucci would have got that off, but in the NFL you won't. And that's kind of what I'm thinking with college defenses and NFL defenses are totally uncomparable. I mean, and when you talk about that LSU team that Joe Burrow had, they were like one of the best. They literally, everyone on their offense got drafted pretty much that went into the draft. So I think it's kind of unfair in Justin Herbert's case to compare the numbers how they progressed. I get what you're saying, Mike, like how their potential is going to be, but I think it's just a little unfair to Justin, since Justin was going to be a top quarterback if he left the year before. I mean, I honestly think his numbers were they the same? Did he go a little down? I'm not sure, but he would have been a top quarterback, maybe behind Kyler Murray, but still a top quarterback, maybe to the Giants instead of.
I think his stock was hurt a little over the course of his last season, but obviously he went number 6.
Another thing that I want to mention right now is the fact that we have to remember that Tyrod Taylor started the first game for the Chargers this season, and Justin Herbert's numbers are better than Joe Burrow's. He's had less games and he's put up better numbers. So I just think that's something to throw out there.
That's true. But one thing I want to go back to what Matt said earlier in this segment about Tua having the lowest ceiling below Jordan Love, right? And you're talking about splitting them up between accomplishments and individual awards, right? I personally think that Tua has the highest ceiling for Super Bowls, for winning Super Bowls.
Out of all.
What? Yeah, out of all of them.
Oh my gosh.
This is because how good the Dolphins are right now. The Dolphins have a really good defense right now. And next year, right, if they could get some more pieces for the offensive line, there's no reason why they can't be a much better team in the AFC, be one of those playoff contenders, right? They're just going to keep improving after each season. And Brian Flores is one of the best young coaches in the NFL. Neither Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow have that right now. Anthony Lynn has blown 4 straight leads in a row of 10-plus points. And Zach Taylor, he's won 4 games over his career as a head coach, while Brian Flores has by far outperformed all those expectations.
Now, I just want to mention something when we're talking about Tua. I saw Brian Flores' post-game press conference today, and when he was asked about Tua, there was no enthusiasm at all.
Listen, I love Tua, but I just don't think – I think he would be the last quarterback to bring his team to a Super Bowl. I don't even care how good the Miami Dolphins are. I don't think he is going to be a Super Bowl quarterback by the end of his career.
Yeah, well,
Can I continue my point? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. That was my little brother there in the background. There was no enthusiasm from Brian Flores at all. And I was watching Get Up this morning on ESPN, and they were talking about, and it was Mike Tannenbaum, who was saying if Miami has the opportunity to get a quarterback next year, they should. They're saying is Miami is using these last 8 games of the rookie season of Tua's rookie season as a showcase for him. And if he can't prove something, maybe they already move on. I mean, we saw it with Josh Rosen. It could be the quote unquote Cliff Kingsbury effect, where Josh Rosen was drafted to Arizona. He busted. Cliff Kingsbury comes in the year after, drafts Kyler, and then there goes Josh Rosen. Now, obviously, Josh Rosen and Tua Tagovailoa aren't the same quarterback, but there could be that effect there.
I think we're just putting too much stock into one game. His first game was not good at all, right? And I understand that Joe Burrow and Herbert had much better debuts, but let's give Tua a little time here. Let's at least give him.
How much time you want to give him? How much time you want to give him? Because you gave him 8 weeks, and you know what, Joe Burrow, this was a weird offseason. We're not going to lie. Coronavirus stopped all the camps. He had to go in. He was on Zoom learning a new system, and he went in right away, and he played good. Like wasn't his second game the Browns game where he threw an incredible number of stats? And then Justin Herbert comes in with absolutely no knowledge of him starting, and he plays great against the Super Bowl winning Kansas City Chiefs. Like, how long do you want to give Tua? I get it's one game, but it just wasn't that good of a game. So I don't know how you're going to say he has a higher ceiling to win the Super Bowl than those 2 quarterbacks.
Especially after he's been sitting on the sideline for 7 weeks watching NFL competition and learning from Ryan Fitzpatrick, who may not have a career resume of other quarterbacks. For example, Jordan Love sitting behind Aaron Rodgers. There's not a comparison of Aaron Rodgers and Ryan Fitzpatrick there, but he is a damn good quarterback in the NFL. And he's
every team and he's probably learned so much knowledge through different quarterbacks.
And he's such a good quarterback to learn from. And it didn't seem like Tua learned very much. Now, I get it. It's his first time on the field, yada, yada, yada. But, I mean, if I don't see much improvement next week or the week after that, there's going to be some concern.
I totally agree that, over the course of the next couple of weeks, if Tua doesn't improve, there's going to be a major problem in Miami. But the fact of the matter is, it's been one game. Joe Burrow's first game, he threw for under 200 yards, and he threw a pick with no touchdowns. Like, give the kid a break. It was his first NFL game. He was going against Aaron Donald, a top 3 player in the NFL, easily. So let's give Tua a break. Let's give him some time, okay? Just give him at least a couple weeks. We haven't seen the Tua that actually is going to, come to form in that NFL yet.
What, the injury-prone Tua who's going to be sitting on the sideline because he hurt something? That's the Tua that I expect to see in the NFL.
There is no reason to put him potentially ahead of Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert to win a Super Bowl. Absolutely no reason. Maybe in a couple of weeks, maybe you'll put that couple of weeks off for another couple of weeks, and then you'll put that off for another couple of weeks, and then we can talk about it. But I just don't see any reason why you'd put him ahead of Super Bowl. And the only reason why I'm saying Jordan Love is ahead of Tua is because of that team he's going to come in. He's going to come in with Devontae Adams, hopefully, and Jair Alexander, hopefully, and Aaron Jones, hopefully. But he's going to
a lot of hopefullys there.
Okay, I'm not going to say it's guaranteed. That's why. But still, he's probably going to come in with those guys under Matt LaFleur, who honestly has been a great head coach. We know he has. The transition from LaFleur to McCarthy to LaFleur is amazing. It's been amazing for Green Bay. And I just think that, and learning under Aaron Rodgers, I definitely see this guy ahead of Tua winning a Super Bowl potentially.
Now, Matt, I'm going to ask you a question, being we see that you're a big Packers fan and we know it on the show, is do you see the Aaron Rodgers effect going to be coming into play with Jordan Love, where Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre, now Jordan Love sitting behind Aaron Rodgers? How many years do you think Aaron Rodgers has left, and do you think Jordan Love is going to step right in and be that franchise guy for Green Bay?
It's a difficult question for me to answer. Realistically, I think by the end of his contract, I think Aaron Rodgers is either going to retire or going to go somewhere else. I don't think they're going to extend his contract, and I think that's 3 years or 4. And I think I
it's
don't know
4.
how it's 4. Okay, I don't know how long Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre off the top of my head. It had to be either 2 or 3 years. But I can see Jordan Love coming in and having that Brett Favre Aaron Rodgers effect. Obviously, it's hard to guess. But I can see it. I think I've looked at Jordan Love's college resume. I've looked at his college highlights. I think he's a good quarterback who has. I'm not going to call him Patrick Mahomes, but we know he can have the arm like Patrick Mahomes and have that Mahomes magic sometimes.
So I guess my next question is, with Aaron Rodgers maybe having 3 or 4 years left on his contract and Jordan Love being a first round pick, that's a lot of cap that's going to be eaten up for a backup quarterback and potentially having to pick up a 5th-year option. So with Aaron Rodgers staying there for another 3 to 4 years potentially, do we see the Packers potentially making a move and trading Jordan Love for key assets somewhere down the line?
Yeah, I think we can. You never know. I mean, if Aaron Rodgers keeps performing the way he is right now, they could look at that, but I don't think they will, to be honest. But it could happen. I think we see that a backup quarterback is as valuable as another position out there, especially at Aaron Rodgers getting old.
I don't think that there's a chance that the Packers trade Jordan Love. There's a reason that they traded up in the first round for Jordan Love and picked him. I understand, if Aaron Rodgers is playing really well, but by the end of his contract, I think he's going to be like 38 to 40 years old, right? There's no chance in hell that the Packers trade Jordan Love. And even if, what are you going to get for Jordan Love? He probably won't be playing. He probably won't get any NFL action, right? Unless Rodgers gets hurt, right? And then the second string quarterback gets hurt, right? Because right now he's a third string quarterback.
I don't
But moving forward, yes, he's probably going to be the second string quarterback. But my point is, how much could you even get for a backup quarterback that hasn't played an NFL snap?
That's a question that none of us can answer because we're not NFL GMs and we're not on the phone.
I feel like if anything, you trade Aaron Rodgers if you see promise from Jordan Love in practice and preseason and stuff like that, and you kind of use the New England mentality of getting rid of them a year early instead of a year late. I feel like if anything, that's what the Packers will do.
That's an interesting take there.
I mean, but to say there's no chance in HE double hockey sticks is stupid because there's a chance for everything to happen. Come on. There's a chance. Jimmy, do you think the Patriots, well, that's not a first round pick, but do you think the Patriots thought they would be trading Jimmy Garoppolo?
And yeah, didn't they get a 2nd round pick for Jimmy G?
But
yeah, because he played.
He played like 1-2 games, but we never know if Jordan Love's ever going to play. Green Bay could sit Aaron Rodgers week 17 and play Jordan Love.
I mean, we've seen Aaron Rodgers. Please don't let Aaron Rodgers get hurt, but we've seen him go down with collarbone injuries and shoulder injuries in the past. So he goes down in the middle of the game. I mean, we saw it, what was it, last year or 2 years ago against the Bears week 1, where he left 2 years ago and they were down, and then he came back and he led the team back to the win. But I mean, there was 3 quarters there where there was a backup quarterback there in the game. Jordan Love steps into that opportunity. He shows off. Who knows? It could be another Jimmy G possibility.
I think this has been a really great conversation. I think it's gone a little off track to Jordan Love and Packers talk. Go figure. But anyone else have anything else to say?
All I'm gonna say is that if the Packers see promise in Jordan Love, I think that they're smart enough not to mortgage their future like New England did with not keeping Jimmy G.
I'll also throw out a hot take here just to get Mike a little fired up. Tua's never going to win a Super Bowl.
He's not. I mean, I don't think he ever.
I never said he will. I just said he has the highest.
He had the highest ceiling out of Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert, who have absolutely been amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As of right now, as we're talking of right now, because of the team surrounding him. Yes.
All right. Any last final thoughts? Okay. Well, we'll be back with GOAT picks, and we got the GOAT of the week coming up next. Welcome back to Go Chat. We are back with the GOAT picks. We got to go to the week after this, so let's try to focus, guys, and get this over with. We look at the leaderboard in the new series. Me and Connor are 3-0. Mike's at 2-1, and Tommy is at 1-2. We're gonna start out with Thursday night football.
Can we mention that I won?
Oh yeah, do you want to talk?
Yes.
Do your speech, whatever.
You got 30 seconds.
Yep.
I would love to thank my friends and family and Wyoming and all of the teams who I picked who did help me accomplish this. Tommy, I give you a valiant effort. You were very close in it. You had a great comeback. Mike, you talked a lot of trash and you finished in 4th place.
Me and Matt were like tied. What do you mean?
Well, I still consider you 4th place. And Matt, it was a valiant effort. We're here at 3-0, and let's hopefully it's me and you here this round. Mike, pretty much all the shade is going to you. All right, I'm ready to continue my reign.
All right. I would just like to say, technically, if we went into a tiebreaker, I would have came in 3rd because I picked the Steelers. But we're gonna go right into this. We got the Thursday night football: Green Bay Packers versus San Francisco 49ers. No Jimmy Garoppolo, no George Kittle, no Raheem Mostert. Connor, who's gonna win this game?
Easy pick here. I mean, the Packers are without a running game, but it won't matter. It's the Packers by at least 20.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm just happy Raheem Mostert. I mean, like, I'm not happy that he's hurt. I'm just happy he's not playing because dude gives me nightmares. But I'm gonna go with the Packers. Tommy.
Yeah, I think it's Mike.
Mike.
Going with the Packers.
And Tommy.
Yeah, well, first I'd like to say congratulations to Connor. Great effort throughout the whole thing. But I'm gonna go with the Packers. You said this is an easy one. It's not even gonna be close.
Next game we have is Friday, BYU versus Boise State. BYU's number 9, Boise State's number 21. Connor, who do you got?
Boise State's going to win this one. They've looked really good all year. They're kind of one of the surprise teams this season in college football. I think they're going to continue.
I'm going to go with BYU. Zach Wilson is playing absolutely amazing for BYU. I mean, honestly, he can make a Heisman candidate up there with Justin Fields and, well, Trevor Lawrence. I don't know about that. Mike?
I'm gonna go with BYU as well. I just think, like you mentioned, Wilson has been playing out of his mind right now, and I just think BYU is the better team overall.
And Tommy?
I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna go with BYU. I just think that they're the better team. But at the same time, I think it's a good pick, Connor, just because Boise State is at home, but I just think that BYU is overall a stronger team, and they're going to pull off the win on the road.
Did I pick I meant to pick BYU. I don't know if I purposely said Boise State, but BYU was my pick.
Oh, okay.
I thought you picked Boise State.
Yeah,
Whatever.
you said Boise State.
Well, BYU was my pick.
Okay.
I don't mean for any confusion there.
Okay. That's fine. I'll just myself. If you're watching this, make sure you change that graphic.
Mhm.
Well, next game is a Saturday game, SEC rivalry. Number 8 Florida versus number 5 Georgia. Connor, please get this pick right and don't switch it halfway through.
Okay, I'm going to go Florida here. Georgia really did not look good last week against Kentucky. I mean, it was a 14-7 game against an unranked Kentucky team. Quarterback play has really not been very consistent for Georgia, so I think Florida's gonna win this one.
I'm gonna go with Florida too. I like what Kyle Trask has done with that Florida offense. Mike?
Go to Tommy first. I'm still excited.
Tommy?
That's not how it works. Mike has to give his pick.
All right, I'll pick Georgia. I'll pick Georgia.
Tommy?
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I'm going to go with Georgia because that's where they're playing, and I think they're going to get the win. Yeah, we're going to go with Georgia.
Then the last college football game that we have here is number 1 Clemson versus number 4 Notre Dame. Obviously, no Trevor Lawrence. So, Connor, who are you picking?
This is a tough one. This is a really tough one. The true freshman quarterback, I'm not going to try to pronounce his name. Yeah, that guy. He played really well against Boston College. The defense for Clemson didn't look that great, but I think Clemson wins this game.
Okay, we go Notre Dame. Mike?
I'm going to go with Clemson too. They had a horrible start against BC, but they turned it up late. Travis Etienne is the driving force of that team right now.
And Tommy?
I'm going to go with Notre Dame. I think that Clemson is really a great team, but I just think that not having Trevor Lawrence will hurt them. And like you said, I watched the game last week. Their rookie quarterback or their freshman quarterback, he played very well towards the end of the game there. And I think that he will play well, but I think, that's a tough environment to play in Notre Dame on the road, your second career start. So I'm going to go with Notre Dame. I just think that they're going to get this one due to the absence of Trevor Lawrence.
Another great round of GOAT picks. We'll see who ends up on top by the end of this week. Hopefully it's me. Other than that, got the GOAT of the week coming up next, so stay tuned. I know it's been a long episode, but we'll wrap this up very shortly.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are going to do the GOAT of the week now. We're going to get right into it. Connor, who's your GOAT of the week?
Well, I first want to mention that the leaderboard is up and that Kyler Murray did get me a win last week. So that's big. I think I'm now back within one of Matt after he got 2 straight. So I'm coming for this crown as well. And I think this week I'm going to get another win as I'm picking the killer of the Green Bay Packers. Beat the Packers by himself.
Get out of here.
Dalvin Cook. 30 carries on the ground, 163 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And he had 2 catches for 63 yards and another touchdown. He single-handedly beat the Packers on his own. Dalvin Cook is my GOAT of the week. Matt, also good to you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's a good pick. All right. Who do you have, Mike?
Well, I'm actually going to college. I mentioned his name earlier in the episode, actually in the last segment when we were talking about Clemson. I'm going with Travis Etienne of the Clemson Tigers. Trevor Lawrence was out, and Travis Etienne took the load off the freshman QB. I'm not going to say his name either, but he had over 200 scrimmage yards, 2 touchdowns. He was the Tigers' leading rusher and receiver. Who does that? Dalvin Cook didn't do that, but Travis Etienne did. Also, Travis Etienne broke the 42-year-old ACC career rushing record, passing. Who did he pass? He passed someone from NC State. I'm not exactly sure the name now. Ted Brown, that's his name. But he passed him this past Sunday. So just accomplishments upon accomplishments for Travis Etienne, and that's why he's my GOAT of the week.
And I also do just want to mention that Dalvin Cook was only 16 yards shy of being the leading rusher and receiver. So
does he want
that's so sad.
Does he want a cookie? Like, he was 16 yards short. Who cares?
Doesn't count.
Now Matt's just salty. Matt's salty because he beat the Packers. Anyway, Matt, why don't you give us your GOAT of the week because it's going to be a loser.
My GOAT of the week is the killer of the New York Jets. It's Patrick Mahomes. Boy, what an incredible day he had. 416 yards in the air, 5 touchdowns, a passer rating of 144.4. This guy absolutely played amazing. And I know you guys are going to look at his face and you guys are going to recognize him more than anyone else on this screen. So that's why you should go with Patrick Mahomes. Absolutely incredible performance from the best quarterback in the league right now.
And Tommy, give us your baseball pick. Who's going to get the least amount of votes this week?
Well,
Why you gotta do it to him?
well, it's all true. I mean, it's a baseball pick and it's going to get the least amount of votes. But luckily for the viewers, it's the last baseball pick that I can do because it's over. I know everybody's excited about it, but I'm going to go with the World Series MVP, Corey Seager of the Los Angeles Dodgers. He had an incredible series. He won the NLCS MVP. I had him as my GOAT for that week as well. He didn't win, so I'm not expecting a win in this one. But Corey hit over 400 in the World Series, a couple of home runs. He was just great for them. I mean, you can't say enough about what he's been able to do. He had 4 doubles. He stole a base as well. Corey's just great out there, and he's a big reason why they were able to break the drought of 32 years without a World Series title. So I'm going to go with him for my GOAT of the week.
Well, that is going to wrap up a great episode number 49 of GOAT Chat. Be on the lookout for Saturday's episode. We do have Ithaca College alumni Jake Asman joining us. So that's going to be a great interview. Definitely check out for that. As well as me and the other guys, we have definitely been putting some work in on putting some GOAT Chat merchandise together. So be on the lookout for the merch link in bio soon. That's going to be coming. Until next time, do we have any other final thoughts?
Great episode.
Subscribe. Only 10% of you who viewed the last episode were subscribed. So 90% of you were not subscribed. So please, please, please hit that subscribe button. It supports us so much. It gets our content out there more. So please hit the subscribe button.
Mike said it best. We're going to leave this episode on that. We will see you guys on Saturday featuring Jake Asman.